we're here to celebrate tonight the efforts, the intelligence, the passion, and the commitment that Will has and will bring to this Congressional District number 26. But I do want to take a moment to celebrate all of you, because you're willing to join him in that very hard fight. You're willing to put yourself on the line and make those brave phone calls and knock on doors and talk to people about why this race matters, why we can win it, and why, if we do, things are going to be better in their lives, and to make it meaningful and personal to them. It's really a privilege and honor for me to be here with Michelle, who's managing this campaign. Michelle was part of my campaign. And we have a number of, I hope they don't find this insulting when I say it, Wendy babies on the campaign for Will. Young people who believed in something hard and expressed the willingness to fight to make it happen. They, of course, and we did not succeed in that 2014 gubernatorial race, and yet here they are again, working on something that's hard, committing their lives, their passion, and their incredible talents and gifts to making it happen. And I believe in them. I believe in all of you, and mostly I believe in Will. And that's why I wanted to be here tonight. So I met Will at UNT a couple of months ago, I guess it was. I was there along with a number of other progressive organizations talking about what happened in the legislative session in 2017 and just making sure that we're raising awareness and keeping that front of mind for people so they understand why it is that these elections matter so very much. And I was just immediately taken with him. I've been asked to do a lot of endorsements in the primaries, and I pretty much shy away from that. It's hard to do that. It's hard to say between two progressive candidates, I'm going to choose to support one over the other. But it didn't take me long talking to Will to understand why he was the person for this district. Even though, and I am a feminist with great pride and passion, even though the person that he's running against in this primary is actually a young woman. But the true feminist in this race is Will. Now, Will and his wife Morgan have 2 daughters, and that would explain for you, of course, where much of that comes from. But a lot of it for him comes from how he grew up, how he was raised. You might read a little bit about his background and think, this would be a person who is running with an R next to their name. He was raised in a conservative family. Conservative, by the way, has gotten a bad name, just like liberal has. But he was raised in a family that taught him to respect people, to value individual contributions and the hard work that can create opportunity for all of us. And I wish I could say that we live in a state and in a country where hard work leads to the kind of opportunity that it ought to, but unfortunately today it doesn't. And in fact, a lot of people who are here working hard, trying to make life better for themselves and their families are on the short end of a lot of policies here in the state and in this country. And I know that that in large part has motivated Will to run, and he'll talk with you about that, of course. But what I'm really struck by is that Will running in a conservative district, maybe I shouldn't call it that because once again, I don't want to give conservative a bad name, running in a district that has been electing far-right Republicans for a long time, Will is willing to put himself out there and say, I'm going to stand for the values of what it means to be a progressive, I'm going to stand for the equal opportunity of every person who lives here, who's willing to work hard and who has a dream for creating greater opportunity for themselves and their family. And he's not shying away from saying, I support a woman's right to choose. And he's not shying away from saying, I support members of every walk of life to choose who they love and to be treated with the dignity and respect that each and every one of us ought to be, regardless of our sexual orientation, our gender identity, or experience. Now, you might think that someone running in a district that has been voting as red as this one has, that one might try to shy away a bit from that. And that speaks volumes about the character of the person who's asking for your vote and your support in this particular race. Now, is this hard? Yes, it is. Like Mark, when I ran for the Texas Senate back in 2008, I was running in a district that had been held by a Republican, that had been drawn specifically to elect Republicans, and no one thought I could win. I literally was written off by every political prognosticator in the state. And we did win. And the reason that we won was not only that we were willing to work hard as a campaign, but people around us worked hard, believed in what we were fighting for, and were willing to put themselves forward to make it happen too. And we know from watching some of the other races that are going on around this country, most recently the state Senate race in Oklahoma, where a woman won a state Senate seat as a Democrat that Donald Trump had won by like 28 points or something. I mean, it is amazing, amazing. And so at the end of the day, my money is on Will, my money's on Mark, my money is on every one of us in this room, the Democratic divas, chief among them, and our ability to do hard things. I will end my remarks by telling you my very favorite quote in the whole wide world, and it was by a Republican, Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt has many famous quotes, but the most famous of all is the one about being in the arena. And he talks about the fact that it's not the critic who counts, not the person who stands on the sideline and points out where the doer of deeds could have done better or where he or she erred along the way. The person that counts is the one who's willing to get in that arena, who's willing to sweat and strive and through blood and tears demonstrate that they have the courage and the capacity to fight for something that matters. And that even if they lose, they can step back and own the pride of saying, I worked to do something that mattered. And how much greater it is to be a person who does that than that cold, timid soul, as Roosevelt called them, that cold, timid soul who stands on the sidelines and never enters the arena. Every one of you is an arena person, and every one of you is capable of doing something miraculous. And you're going to, I truly believe it, in this race, because you have a spectacular candidate. You have a district that has not been turning out as it should. And you've got Michelle and all the other Wendy babies who are out there working to make sure that it does. It's truly with great pride that I am endorsing Will in this race, and it's my great honor and pleasure to introduce him now to you.